To discuss this and a lot more as to where the market could be headed, we are now joined by Mr. Mayuresh Joshi, Director for Research at William O'Neill Securities. Namaste Mayuresh ji, and a very warm welcome. A sideways trend on the Nifty for the last 2 odd weeks or so. There was a very sharp rally in October. How do you see the markets presently?
Morning, sir. So I think if you probably look at the market construct, you are absolutely right. I think 26,000 probably seems very, very difficult to pierce through for the index as a whole. But the construct behind the index not going through is probably just that initial fear still coming through in terms of what happens with tariff resolutions. Outside that, our own sense is that earnings have been relatively better for Q2. And in fact, they should show signs of improvement as we head into Q3 and Q4. So I think a lot of sectors and a lot of stocks within the sectors have performed really well in the earnings season so far. And therefore, I think the muted earnings growth that one really saw in the quarters, I think that is largely getting behind us. So I think it's a phase that the market is probably going through. Consolidation of markets is always healthy in our opinion, because I think it then gives you those indicators of some sectors which can actually lead the next bull run that has to come. That is what a founder probably believes in.
Okay. Mayuresh, we've often seen that only those stocks rise whose ownership is, not there in the market. So you have Bharti Airtel, you have a strong move coming into L&T, which are generally owned by institutions, not by retail players. Any chances that you see this rally moving over to mid caps and small caps? We've had record highs on Bank Nifty, on NSE 500, but apart from that, there's nothing much that is moving in the market.
Oh, absolutely. That is very frustrating, right, sir? Because I think a lot of people are assuming some action and there is absolutely no action happening. So in that sense, I think, as I pointed out, I think earnings have been resilient in Q2 where earnings were expected to be soft. And therefore, I think as we head into Q3, Q4, select sectors will continue doing well. And therefore, I think the large cap moves, which obviously lead the rally to a certain extent, even if that rally comes through in Q3 to begin with, I think the next fuel for the markets will be through mid caps. So I think select mid caps within certain sectors where earnings might hold up might actually lead the rally as we head into or probably end Q3. And therefore, some patience is required. But mid caps selectively will, in my opinion, outperform over the next 12 to 18 months.
So that's the thought process. But let's look at what the actual on-ground performance is. William O'Neill Securities does a lot of quantitative and qualitative research, Mayuresh ji. In the earnings that have come so far, what are the 2 or 3 or maybe 5 small cap and mid cap companies that have outperformed your own expectations?
So if I start with banks, I think banks clearly within the mid and private mid-cap and private public mid-cap space have really performed well. So in that sense, our take is that you can probably keep on your watch list certain mid-cap stocks, which we've been time and again saying, Bank of Maharashtra, Bank of Baroda as an example. Indian Bank has given a stellar one-way move as we've seen so far. So I think mid-cap private, mid-cap PSU banks, stellar moves in our opinion. Navin Fluorine within the chemical space, very good set of numbers in my opinion. Again, I think in terms of EBITDA margin performance itself, not just year on year, but on a quarter-on-quarter basis as well. I think that stock has really outperformed itself. And therefore, I think as we head into the next few quarters, as there is significant signs of improvement coming through from the demand side, where realization growth and realizations itself should hold up and margin should hold up, that leverage might probably play out. Blue Dart Express, one of the winners within the logistics space, very good set of numbers in Q2. Again, I think Q2 is expected to be a seasonally weak quarter. Q3, Q4 are supposed to be the best quarters for logistics as a space. So I think if the trend probably continues for logistics as a theme in terms of rationalization and expectations of demand dynamics, I think Blue Star Express's numbers were very, very good in my opinion as well. Certain NBFCs as a proxy to banks delivered a decent set of numbers, and the commentaries have been very, very good as well. Shriram among the large caps obviously has done a good job. But M&M Financials, where stability is probably seen, expectations in terms of more pickup expected as vehicle loans start coming through, creating less pressure on asset quality. I think those numbers probably stood out as well. Within real estate and real estate as a proxy, I think Phoenix Mills is something which had a decent set over the last few days. Our own sense for Phoenix is with more escalations in terms of fit outs expected to take place on a positive note, with 4 to 5% expected. Very, very strong balance sheet. And the additions that they're probably doing, both in terms of their commercial annuity spaces as well as hotel keys, I think that can probably explain that if the numbers have to come through, I think Phoenix might have a consistent issue going forward. So the clutch of these sectors which are more domestic, consumption-oriented, consumption-facing might do well. For capital goods, I think L&T has always remained a proxy on large cap names. But even within the mid-cap universe, our own sense is a few of these power ancillary stocks might actually continue doing well, because that is where the government capex is expected to continue at a good pace.
Perfect. Sadly, for many of our investors, 3M India, Navin Fluorine, as also a couple of stocks that you mentioned are a bit unaffordable given the ticket size. But yes, accepted the fact that these earnings have been phenomenal. Mayuresh, for items that are affordable, they lie in the PSU basket, and the fantastic run-up in banks, PSU banks, has been very, very heartening. Are there some banks which you think haven't run up as yet, or amongst those that are up and running, are there any that still have value left on the table?
So Bank of Maharashtra is still where we feel there might be still steam left. A large part of that universe has run up over the past few days, past few weeks. But the consistency in numbers delivery that Bank of Maharashtra has probably given makes us believe that if this numbers delivery continues, and which should improve as we head into Q3, Q4, because a lot of rate rationalization that will happen will start taking place. And you've already seen a lot of normalization happening, whether it's their NIM performance, whether it's their CASA performance, whether it's asset quality which is reported, the expectations in terms of stability in credit deposit ratios, and 98% provisioning on their balance sheet. You can't ask for more. So our sense is that even if the run-up has probably happened for a few of these stocks, Bank of Maharashtra still remains a good actionable idea at MarketSmith.
Fair point. In terms of survival, Mayuresh, there is this move by the government of India to further reduce the number of public sector banks. To your understanding, will Bank of Maharashtra be a survivor, or will it be amalgamated or merged into a bigger PSU bank?
I think there are market rumors going in, and I saw some chat on a group which is saying that it might get merged with a larger bank. But nobody really knows, Shelson, because I think all these processes need regulatory as well as parliamentary approvals. You've seen the long drawn process that has happened probably with IDBI as well. So I think taken well into stride that if the amalgamation probably happens, it's got a bigger entity to play with. But till that happens, if you're looking at individual balance sheets, I think a lot of these individual banks are inherently showing strength as far as earnings performance is concerned. But to answer your question, it might actually get merged with a larger.
Your company is quietly pushing you out, and you know it. Now, at 40 and above, your experience should be a biggest.
If that has to.
Okay, fair point. That's very well explained. So that's one basket. NBFCs are doing well. The other space, Mayuresh, that came up very well and has been a strong set for traders as well is the internet, the digital space in India on the listed side. What are the top picks at William O'Neill as far as India digital landscape is concerned, and what looks good at current level?
Yeah, so I think we liked at a certain point of view months back, the platform companies like a Swiggy or a Zomato, but I think the run-up has been too much, it's exaggerated. I think what we are keeping on our watch list, and it's seriously not a buy at this juncture, but what we are keeping on our watch list is a firm called TBO Tek. So I think it's a pure play digital ecosystem play in terms of the B2B travel network. And if you probably look at the entire enterprise market, it's huge. So it's almost a trillion, in fact 1.3 trillion in terms of the outbound market. The aggregator services that TBO Tek probably provides is very, very relevant in the current context. And therefore, I think the kind of additions that they probably got in terms of travel agents, in terms of the aggregator sites through hotels, airport aggregators, etc., I think it becomes a complete ecosystem within itself. And therefore, this is one stock within the digitalization aspect that you are probably keeping.
Fair point. That's very well explained. Apart from the chemical space, digital, PSU banking, Mayuresh, anything in the IT space that catches your attention? The earnings have come in, but nothing much to talk about as far as the top 5 are concerned. What would be a major pick in this segment?
So midcap has still outperformed relatively compared to large cap shells, and that is primarily based in terms of the client size that they've got in the first place. Very sweet spot between $1 million and 10 million, and therefore dependency in terms of high multi-million or billion-dollar orders, and whether any pricing gets affected is not something to be seen. Pricing really in terms of margins have also not probably been that profound for the mid-cap IT space, and their commentaries have been relatively better. And therefore, numbers within the mid-cap IT have relatively outperformed, whether it's LTI, Mindtree, Coforge, Persistent, as an example. Now, here is where I think the outperformance might still continue, though valuations might be a tad bit higher compared to the standard means and compared to the large cap IT space. And therefore, in terms of relative outperformance, I think these select few mid-cap IT companies might do well. For large cap IT companies, whether it's an appropriate time at this juncture, my own sense is that it might still consolidate for a quarter, see how the US markets cope up, how the global market cope up in terms of the tariff impositions, what kind of an impact does it have on end user industries. And ultimately, I think once the budgeting quarter comes into play, which is the first quarter of the next calendar year, how are most companies within these respective sectors reacting to budgets as far as the IT sector is concerned? Obviously, there will not be any budget cuts per se, but whether you see any positive commentary driving some element of optimism as far as the sector is concerned. So my own sense is that large cap ITs might actually consolidate relatively, mid caps might outperform.
Fair point, and it's more or less impacted in the price. The point that you mentioned that large caps really haven't enthused traders and investors, and there's more selling that's coming in. Apart from this, any favorites left in the auto or the auto ancillary space, Mayuresh? One of the finest rallies that we saw were in auto and auto ancillary stocks from 15th of August onwards till 1st of November. Has the rally spent itself, or do you think there is more steam left?
Also, I think, in my humble opinion, I think much of it is in the price now, because I think everything's moved within auto or auto ancillary. And therefore, I think a few actionables where we still believe that if you have a landscape of a year or two, Uno Minda as an example is where I think they've got a huge diversified portfolio. And their large part of their portfolio is platform agnostic, which means I think even driving the EV powertrain in terms of content per car, there can be significant value additions. There is a large part of backward integration with the plants that they operate out of. And therefore, earnings can remain relatively strong. One of the recent additions which we have done in our portfolio also has been an agri ancillary by the name of VST Tillers. Again, tiller sales have been extremely good so far for VST Tillers so far. Our own sense is that on an annualized basis, the growth in both tiller sales specifically should be relatively better. Tractor sales should start picking up steam. And therefore, I think the new products that they've probably introduced, both in the tractor division, the 20 and 30 horsepower, which is very, very relevant to the Indian conditions, very, very strong balance sheet and expectations of relevantly stronger earnings growth might ensure that the premium valuations might probably sustain for this. So I think an indirect proxy for auto ancillary is how we are playing it is also through GST dealers.
Yes, one of those lovely companies from down south that make small tractors. Unfortunately, Mayuresh ji, these companies are really good, but you know what attracts viewers and retail investors is the price ticket. VST, unfortunately, again is a very stock that's priced slightly higher in terms of the ticket size. Nevertheless, point taken. Very good set of numbers also coming in from VST tellers. Another point that I was trying to make or take your opinion was on OMCs. How do you see this space, record highs coming in on BPCL at least, at a time when the macro news cycle is actually deteriorating in terms of cheaper Russian crude and its availability to Indian OMCs? Do you have a view on this space?
So, Shelter, we've always maintained at O'Neill that these have to be considered as momentum picks when the cycle is probably in that direction. And therefore, we've always believed they cannot be part of your long-term model portfolio picks. Having said that, I think the discount of Russian crude has almost become very, very negligible. So I think the benefit or incremental benefits that OMCs were probably drawing will no longer be available. And to take your point, absolutely well taken in terms of the macro benefits are now largely getting exhausted. Second, GRMs have probably been on an upswing as we speak. And therefore, I think if they persist and sustain, maybe even in Q3, the refining margins might be relatively better or stable, as we've seen in Q2 as well. Marketing margins should hold up, which has always been a key for OMC players. And therefore, I think the kind of transmission volumes that one really expects should sustain in an economy like India, ensuring that marketing margins remain relatively well placed. Again, the investments that they've probably got in cross subsidiaries and the dividend yields that they've probably got act as support mechanisms. So a lot of things in favor for these companies, but there are a lot of moving parts. How crude will move over the next 2 months, nobody has a handle on that. Whether GRMs will probably falter, nobody has a handle on that. And therefore, I think the earnings might get dependent in terms of factors which are beyond either our control or the OMC's control as well. And therefore, that makes us a little bit less sanguine in terms of holding these stocks as long-term picks. Practical plays in your portfolios can always be taken with these.
Right. And the final question, Mayuresh ji, is on small finance banks. Of course, the rally has taken up PSU, private sector banks and NBFCs in top shape, many of them hitting record highs. What is the broader view on the small finance banking setup? What is the top pick there? Do you think the rally will visit that space?
So things are improving, Shell, sir, honestly. I think RBI's change in stance, the excess liquidity that is now available in the market, the SME stroke MSME book, which had largely been affected to a large degree over the last few quarters, is showing signs of bottoming out. There is signs of strength coming back. And ideally, I think we would like that to get reflected in numbers. So ultimately, I think numbers will do the talking. Our own sense is that we still prefer leadership stocks at this juncture because the environment as we speak, both globally and locally, is still fluid and transitory in nature. And therefore, I think we will like to observe how Q3 numbers come through for a whole host of these small finance banks. There will be obvious outliers within this space. And we would like to monitor those outliers as Q3 numbers come out. Till that point of time, if by any chance they run up, I think we don't mind getting in, even if they run up, say, 10-15%, because there is certain element of surety and guarantee that the worst is probably over and things are in.
Fair point. But amongst the best in the worst, would there be a name that you would prefer in the SPF space?
So we are monitoring Equitas, honestly.
Equitas, perfect. With that, Mayuresh, as always, such a pleasure to host you. Have a nice day and looking forward to a great ending for 2025, which has been quite a painful journey for many of us. Have a nice day.
Always a pleasure on your show. Thank you so much.